Beyond the buzzer, inside the game, this is Sports IQ with Larry Smith.
All right, let's do this. Here we go. A block in 3, 2, 1. Glad you're here this Tuesday, October 28th. Larry Smith here, Sports IQ. Glad you're here to talk with us. We've got a good hour here coming up. Some great guests all week long. Man, yesterday's show was fantastic, wasn't it? Cole Thompson, SEC Unfiltered. Chris Dorich with Blue Ribbon College Basketball Yearbook. Again, be sure to check out that website when you get a chance. Man, it's just for more than 40 years. It has been the book to read, blueribbonyearbook.com. They've got the digital version you can sign up for this upcoming season, which again tips off next week. Today we've got Darnell Dixon talking BYU athletics, not just football, but also basketball. You look up, and right now in the Associated Press poll, there is only one school ranked in the top 10 in both polls, and it's BYU. And we'll talk about just this Cougars team, undefeated 8-0. Basketball, again, in the top 10. We'll talk with Darnell here, friend of the show here in a few minutes. A bit later, speaking of college basketball, we'll talk a little college hoops. And you might have heard about, maybe you've even seen or you heard the mini rant that Tom Izzo, the veteran Michigan State coach, that he went on about this recent former G League player, the NBA's G League, signing to go play in college. What about once you went professional, you couldn't go to college? Well, that line has now been not just blurred, but it appears erased. And so we're going to play that rant and talk a little bit about that here at the end of the show. We'll talk a little NBA as well. Cooper Flag, the Thunder. We've got lots happening here. But we start, though, with the World Series. And I'm going to tell you, I've covered more than about 70 major championships worldwide. I did some Olympics overseas. I've done golf, Super Bowls, Final Fours, Kentucky Derbies, you name it. And, there's something special about the World Series. For one, it's the only major championship with no days off. Now, golf, you're going to play 4 days in a row. That's an individual sport. But in terms of team sports, the Super Bowl, it's a week-long lead up to the point that you get to Sunday and go, oh, yeah, there's a game. There's so much stuff happening during the week that it's almost, for some, the game's an afterthought. In fact, I know some people who actually will fly into the Super Bowl city, party and hang out and play golf and whatever during the week, and actually leave Sunday morning, fly back home and watch the game at home at a party with friends. That happens. The NBA takes time off. NHL takes time off. Soccer, same. But not in baseball. You get up and go, and the only day off you have is to travel. And I remember, I think I've mentioned a few years ago, there was a World Series that Game 3 in St. Louis was rained out. And if the Tigers had won Game 5, we would have had to play the next day. They were not going to have an off day because TV was set up, et cetera. We're going to have to fly, find our way from Friday night to Saturday night, getting from St. Louis to Detroit. I mean, they just don't take time off. So that makes the drama even more special, that there's no time off. And so for the Dodgers and Blue Jays, not only not a day off, they just have a few hours off after last night's marathon. This was a thriller. Some are already calling it the best World Series game ever, and it's hard to argue. 18 innings they went. Freddie Freeman finally with the solo home run to center field off Brendan Little in the bottom of the 18th. And so the Dodgers win in LA 6-5, and they take a 2-1 lead. Just insane that they used. 19 pitchers used. Dave Roberts, by the way, who managed the longest game in World Series history back in 2018, does it again. And he talks about last night's game.
Congratulations. But can you put into words the range of emotions that you and your team have just gone through in playing in probably one of the greatest World Series games ever?
It's one of the greatest World Series games of all time. Emotional. I'm spent emotionally. We got a ball game later tonight, which is crazy. There's just a lot of heroes tonight. Obviously, Freddie put the exclamation mark on the game, but you see what Will Klein did. Saw what Edgardo, Robleski, Clayton comes in. He was up for 3 innings and comes in and gets a huge out for us. Just across the board, everyone just had huge nights, big nights, just kept fighting. And, those guys over there, they gave everything they had. And, unfortunately, somebody's got to win that game. And, fortunately for the Dodgers, we got Freddie Freeman on our team. And, I'm just so proud of
How exhausted were the players as you sensed it? The batters were swinging wildly. Am I misinterpreting it, or were they very exhausted?
No, they were exhausted. Will Smith caught 18 innings. And, just to continue to try to grind. And we took some good swings. The Marine layer kicked in, and I thought, Will's ball early was gone. Freddie hit another ball I thought was a homer. Teo hit a ball that could have been a homer, but, we kept going. But you saw what Lauer did tonight. That guy, man, he laid it out there. So just a heck of a ball game.
Dave Roberts talking about Shohei Ohtani, who set a World Series record by reaching base 9 times, a double, home run, double, home run, and then 5 walks, 4 of them intentionally. Now, the 4 extra base hits, that ties a 119-year-old major league record, and Shohei becomes the first to be walked intentionally 4 times in a postseason game. It's just crazy. And by the way, yes, as Roberts mentioned, he is the Game 4 starting pitcher tonight for LA. In fact, Toronto manager John Schneider said, quote, "He's arguably the best player on the planet," end quote. And hard to argue with that. The guys post-game with Fox are kind of saying the same thing. Freddie Freeman, 36-year-old, now 2 wins away from a 3rd World Series ring, talking about last night's thriller.
Shohei's game, I hope we don't lose sight of getting on. Our starting pitcher tomorrow got on base 9 times tonight. Just incredible. It's just kind of how when you're that hot and you're hitting balls right center, left center, like Shohei was tonight, you just knew he was feeling good. So, that's the right move. You don't want Shohei to beat you and let other guys try and beat you after his first 4 at-bats, and it took a lot longer, but we finally did it.
I know it's more than that. Can you tell us how tired you were at that point?
To be honest, I wasn't actually that tired. When you have your bullpen doing what they're doing, it just keeps firing you up over and over and over again. If you're tired in a World Series game, that's I don't think anybody's tired after that. But it's just when you're going through all that, 0 after 0, I was just trying to get on base against tough lefty sinker baller. With a hard curveball, I was just trying to get on, but got to a 3-2 count and was able to put a good swing on it. My swings were getting better as the game was going on. I thought I had a couple of hits in, 21 innings ago. It felt like my swing was getting better and better, and thankfully I was able to get one over. But I don't think we're physically tired. I think you're just mentally tired because you're in it every pitch, and every pitch means something in the World Series and in the playoffs. So I think we're all emotionally and mentally drained.
And how about journeyman Will Klein on his 4th team in 5 years, going 4 innings for the first time as a pro, keeping the Blue Jays off the board until Freeman's game-winning heroics.
Just keep going. We weren't losing that game, and so if I had to keep going back out there, I was going to keep doing that and doing all I could to put up a 0 and then sit back down and go do it again.
Hey, well, can you tell me when the last time you had thrown 72 pitches was, and when tonight you knew that you'd have to, really take a bulk of those innings?
Probably college. My senior or junior year when I was still a starter. I realized that when I looked around in the bullpen and my name was the only one still there. And so, I was just going to go until I couldn't. And, that's kind of what happened. And thankfully, Freddie saved us from Yama having to do the same thing.
How much of a grind was it to get through that 4th inning, a couple of walks, wild pitch? How much do you have to dig deep there?
Yeah, a lot. Started to feel it. And, there are times when you're starting to feel down and you feel your legs aren't there, or your arm's not there. And you just gotta be like, well, who else is going to come save me? So I had to dig deep, do it myself. And, hearing our guys in the dugout and the fans kind of come behind, especially with Will calling, that last curveball, I was like, all right, cool, let's do it. And, just having those guys kind of takes all the fatigue out of you and stuff.
Also, how did you stay sharp, earlier in the playoffs when you weren't on the roster? And then was it a surprise to be put on the World Series roster?
We were in Arizona, throwing live ABs once a week to their guys there, and then, playing catch and and, trying to stay in it mentally. And it wasn't easy, but, we had guys there that, made it possible and stuff. And so having those guys around really helped.
Unbelievable game. That's Will Klein. Unbelievable. So 6-5. LA gets the win. They now are up 2-1 again. Game 4 tonight, just a few hours later. And it was funny. I was reading one of the reports, Shohei Ohtani, of course, needing an interpreter, and said later, he said, yeah, I just want to go to bed after this. So unbelievable. Just how exciting that was. The Dodgers getting the win in huge, dramatic fashion. 6-5, the final in that. So, it's funny that baseball, it feels, has taken a back seat to the NFL. They have just cornered the market in terms of excitement. But it's moments like this that I hope that brings fans back to the game, even though, yes, it's very late. The game ended very late, but hopefully everyone will jump on board. And we've already seen an increase in the numbers this postseason in terms of viewership, reporting on ESPN and the Fox stations. And so again, Game 4 tonight, great drama here in the Fall Classic. This is why we watch, and we can't wait for tonight's Game 4. And tomorrow night, Game 5, there from LA. And potentially, we'll go back to Toronto. We'll see what happens these next couple of games. Meanwhile, there was a Monday Night Football game, despite as all that was happening. Kansas City getting the win at home, 28-7. Patrick Mahomes, a couple of early interceptions. One really wasn't his fault, but still throws 3 touchdown passes, one to Travis Kelce, his 83rd touchdown of his career. That ties Priest Holmes for the team record, by the way. Look out for the Chiefs. They've now won 4 or 5. And by the way, in the series with Washington, they haven't lost to that franchise since 1983, back when they played at RFK Stadium, which is currently being picked apart in a very careful demolition to build a new digs for the team here in the coming years. 9 straight wins in the series for Kansas City in that. The Chiefs also, you look at their numbers, very efficient. Only one 300-yard game for Mahomes during this. He did have 299 last night, almost had a second. But no individual has rushed for 100 yards or caught 100 yards in any game. And yet 5 straight games with 28 points, extremely efficient. They've allowed now just 24 points in the last 3 games. All 3 were wins. It's just, it's pretty impressive what they're doing right now. 3-game win streak. They're at Buffalo Sunday, and then the bye before they take on a current AFC West leading Denver in a pivotal game in early November. So the divisional leaders right now in the NFL as we get ready for the next week to start on Thursday: New England, Pittsburgh, Indianapolis, and Denver in the AFC, Philadelphia, Green Bay, Tampa Bay, and Seattle in the NFC. Again, love to watch the NFL. We get a couple days off, and we'll do it again on Thursday. All right, we've got more to come here. NBA still on the way, and we'll talk with Darnell Dixon, talking BYU. We'll get a little Utah as well. We'll see what the Utes are up to out there in Utah, and still on the way as well, some college basketball. Busy day right here. Glad you're with us on the Sports IQ.
Packages start at $29.99 a month with signed agreement. Restrictions apply. Speak to a representative for complete offer details. See Vivint.com for license details. Terms and conditions apply.
Homeowners, if you're looking for the best in home security and smart home technology at a price you can actually afford, we have great news. Now you can get Vivint's award-winning home security systems starting at about $1 a day. U.S. News and World Report has recognized Vivint as the best professionally installed home security system of 2022. And right now, you can get Vivint's home security technology for about $1 a day. Plus, get free professional installation from a licensed technician. Protect your home and loved ones for as low as $1 a day. Call right now for your free home security consultation.
800-613-8053. 800-613-8053. 800-613-8053. That's 800-613-8053.
Are you tired of your website making your business look bad? Is your current web developer dropping the ball? Let's face it, if your website isn't making you money, it's broken. Let Neon Rain create a website that turns your visitors into customers. Neon Rain has worked with hundreds of businesses across North America, building custom websites and applications with modern designs that are easy to update and work well on mobile devices. They can do it for you too. What sets Neon Rain apart? They actually deliver on their promises. Call today for a free consultation. 303-957-3092. That's Neon Rain at 303-957-3092. or visit them at neonrain.com.
If you're a diabetic, we have great news. You can end the painful finger sticks with a new CGM. Plus, they may be covered by Medicare, Medicaid, or private insurance. If you test and inject daily, you may qualify. Call US Med now to learn more.
800-390-5160. 800-390-5160. 800-390-5160. That's 800-390-5160.
You're listening to Sports IQ with Larry Smith.
I'll look now at the NBA is getting ready to talk with Darnell Dixon of Provo Herald, talking about the BYU in just a moment here. 5 games tonight in the NBA, including Philadelphia 3-0. They take on Washington. The Clippers are at Golden State. Warriors 3-1. OKC 4-0, trying to go to 5-0 tonight as they take on Sacramento. Big win on the road last night, 101-94 at Dallas. But the Thunder, defending champs, had an 18-point lead in that one and saw it dwindle all the way down to 1 18-point lead entering the fourth quarter. But the Mavs cut it to 95-94 with 55 seconds left. But the Thunder hold on to this one. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with 23 points. Chet Holmgren, 18 points, 11 rebounds. Isaiah Hartenstein with 16 and 12. Isaiah and Chet talking about this victory after the game.
I think we've been through a lot as a team. We work. I think Mark does a great job of preparing us for those situations. I mean, first of all, we don't want to be in a situation where we give up a lead like that. But at the end of the day, we trust each other. And I think that's also what makes Shai so special, that he trusts us as a team. I mean, I think a lot of other superstars might force it or try to do it themselves, but I think Shai does a great job of finding that mix of trusting us, and then we know he can always make a big shot if we need it.
We have different lineups out there than we have in the past. Obviously, AJ playing big minutes, Dub out right now, a lot of guys out, guys stepping up. Our rookies have looked great so far in their minutes, and then late game, we have a pretty good idea of what we're trying to get to. We've been there a lot, especially this year already. We've been in a lot of late game situations. So we feel pretty good with what we're trying to get to. Coach does a good job of putting us in spots quickly. And then, we kind of know what to do and when to do it from wherever we are.
You and Hart seem to have such a special, relationship connection. What's it like for you to see him get the 2 biggest buckets of the game?
Man, he was huge. He was a monster on the glass tonight. That was huge for us. He's a big reason why we were able to close that game out. And he's just, he's a beast down there. He's a big target, great hands. And tonight, when he put it up, it looked like it was going in every time. So, we need to keep finding him because he's real efficient in those situations, and he's able to get his shot off in those situations. So we need to keep looking for him, keep finding him, keep feeding him. And then, he's going to do his thing and get his own on the glass. So, big credit to him tonight.
You mentioned the rookies being good in their minutes so far, but what are some of the intangibles you want them to kind of notice when they're not in the game?
You said when they're not in the game?
Yeah, what are some of the intangibles you want them to kind of pick up on when they're not getting the minutes?
There's nothing I want to see them do. They're doing everything that they need to do already. They've been amazing so far. I haven't been around too long, but I've been around long enough to see how an NBA season goes and understand that you're going to get an opportunity. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And, just telling them to stay ready for that. And they do a great job of that, paying attention, understanding what they need to do when they get out there on the floor, and then going out and executing it at a high level. And they've done that so far. They're going to continue to do that as the season evolves, as their dealio, whatever it is, evolves. And I got complete faith and trust in whoever coach puts out there. And they're here for a reason. They're great players. So I look forward to seeing them continue to evolve and grow as players.
Yeah, Chet Holmgren there, the last voice we heard. A.J. Mitchell, to his point, 17 points off the bench in this one. OKC also dominating the boards, 55-36 as they get the win over Dallas. Number 1 overall pick, Cooper Flagg, a tough night for him, just 2 points on 1 of 9 shooting. Injured his shoulder early in the game and sat out crunch time. He said afterwards he does expect to play tomorrow when Indiana comes to town. So that's the story there. But again, OKC in action tonight, one of those 5 games. Another action last night, the Cavaliers over the Pistons, 116-95 in this one. How about Mitchell with 35 points, Donovan Mitchell for Cleveland. We mentioned the Sixers now 3-0 because they beat Orlando last night, 136-124. Tyrese Maxey is off to a hot start. 43 points for Philly in that one. Bulls, hey, they're now 3-0, beating Atlanta 128-123. Ayo Dosunmu, 21 points off the bench to lead 8 Bulls in double figures. Chicago off to the good start. Rockets over the Nets, 137-109. It was the Celtics finally getting their first win, beating New Orleans 122-90 in that contest. Spurs also now 4-0, 121-103. Wemby does it again, 24 points, 15 rebounds, another hot start there in San Antonio. Meanwhile, the Jazz, how about Lauri Markkanen with a career high, 51 points. The first Utah player to score 50 points in a regular season game since Karl Malone did it back in the 90s. Jazz get the win in overtime over the Suns, 138-134. Nuggets, 127-114 winner over Minnesota. Nikola Jokic with a triple-double, 25 points, 19 rebounds, and 10 assists. And meanwhile, Jamal Murray, 43 points to go with 6 assists as well. Just the Nuggets know how to fill up a stat sheet to get the win on the road last night. We mentioned the Warriors, again, 3-1. They got the win last night, 131-118 over the Grizzlies in that one. Kuminga with 25 points, 10 rebounds for Golden State. And the Lakers, Austin Reeves does it again, 51 points Sunday night, 41 points Monday night, but the Lakers fall at home to Portland, 122-108. All right, stay with us. We'll talk BYU with Darnell Dixon up next here on the Sports IQ.
Hey, airline travelers, let's say you have a problem and you need to change or cancel an existing airline reservation. What do? Well, Skywatch is a free service that can help anyone with any airline reservation fix it. Whether you want to cancel it, change your dates, or add passengers, we can help fix your airline reservations so you get exactly what you need. We've updated our computer database and now have access to every airline around the globe. So now you can make one phone call regardless of who booked your airline tickets, and we'll change it, cancel it, and fix it for you. We know the insider secrets to fixing reservations that the airlines don't want you to know about. So if you need to cancel, change, or modify an existing airline reservation, call Skywatch right now. It's a free call, so let us fix it for you. 800-413-7158. 800-413-7158. 800-413-7158. That's 800-413-7158. How would you like to get high-speed internet for your home for less than $2 a day? That's right. For about $50 a month, you'll get lightning fast internet. Are you paying less than $50 a month right now for your internet? Then call Whole Home Connect right now for blazing fast internet at $50 a month with no price increases, no hidden fees, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees. It's a great deal. And guess what? You can try it for 15 days. If you don't like it, you get your money back. But you're going to love it. And you're going to love the price. Internet for your home for $50 a month. That's less than $2 a day. Plus, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees, and our 15-day guarantee. Call now. 800-215-0341. 800-215-0341. 800-215-0341. That's 800-215-0341.
You're locked in to Sports IQ with Larry Smith.
Let's talk a little BYU athletics. Our friend Darnell Dixon joining us once again from the Provo Daily Herald, sports writer there. Darnell, good to talk to you again. Last time we talked, it was all about BYU basketball, but let's talk some football right now. What is it about athletics and there at BYU? You guys are just right on top of the world right now in so many sports.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that what BYU and its fans and its program and its administration always wanted was access, the ability to, if you win games, to be considered for whatever the NCAA tournament or the college football playoffs. And as an independent or playing in the Mountain West Conference, the West Coast Conference, or wherever they were, it was a lot more difficult. But now that they are in the group, now that they're a power conference team, they're taking advantage of that and some, rather deep pockets of some donors that have always existed. But now that they're paying players and all of that, it's worked out in BYU's favor for sure.
Yeah, it really has. Joining the Big 12, coming in and, like you said, taking advantage, being there at the big table, if you want to go there and use an analogy on that. Right now, what the Cougars are doing in football is just outstanding. Another win this weekend over Iowa State going into the bye week there in Ames, 41-27. Coming out the big win over Utah before. What is it about this year's BYU football team that makes them so special?
Yeah, going back to spring football, I think most people felt like BYU, most fans here and the media felt like BYU football was in a pretty good place. They had a senior quarterback coming back in Jake Retzlaff, some really good talent. And then Jake ran afoul of the BYU honor code over the spring, an event that occurred a couple years earlier, actually. But he was going to have to serve a 7-game suspension if he decided to stay because of that violation. So he opted to transfer to Tulane, where, by the way, he's doing terrific. He's really playing well for them. But then BYU was in a bit of a quandary because they had a couple of quarterbacks who had a little bit of Division I experience. McKay Hillstead played at Utah State, Trayson Bourget at Eastern Michigan. They'd been in the program for a year. And then, oh, by the way, a guy named Bear Bachmeier decided to transfer from Stanford in the offseason, along with his brother Tiger, who plays receiver. We didn't know a lot about Bear Bachmeier. Knew he was a 4-star guy, as a quarterback in Southern California, but didn't know a lot about him. And all he did was go out and win the job as a true freshman. And every week he's showing us something different in terms of his game. And if you're a defensive coordinator heading into this season, you see BYU has a true freshman quarterback and a good running game. You think, okay, well, we'll stop the running game and then we'll force that freshman quarterback to beat us. And Bear's done it 8 times so far. He's had a couple of 300-yard games, including the one on Saturday against Iowa State. He's been everything and more that he's been advertised. He's almost become a mythical figure in Provo after just 8 games. It's just amazing. And you look at this program, they're 19-2 in the past 2 seasons.
Wow.
So they're winning a lot of games, and some of those games are close. Some of those games are blowouts. They just win football games. And Saturday, they were down 24-10 to Iowa State and were being pretty much manhandled. And they were able to turn that around and outscore them 31-3 the rest of the way to get the victory. So it's a team that it's a great culture that Kalani Sitake has built here. As I mentioned before, there's a lot of really good donors that have created a situation where they can go out and get good players and build a great infrastructure. So it's just a really good program right now, and ranked number 10 in the country, tied with Miami. And, a good bye week coming up as they get ready for a Texas Tech game coming up.
Which would be good because the Red Raiders, obviously, one of the top contenders as well in the Big 12. You mentioned Bachmeier. He's one of those guys, to me, he's must-see TV in a way that, and me living in the Eastern time zone, reminds me a bit of Colin Kaepernick when he was at Nevada. Watching him play at night, I would seek out their games at night to see Colin Kaepernick play because I was so intrigued with his play. Bear Bachmeier is that kind of become that kind of player for me as well. I hear already, we're just, still a month left in the season. Where once all the early games are done, I'm looking to see, okay, where can I find BYU to watch Bear Bachmeier? And because this kid's a true freshman, I can't believe the moxie and confidence he brings at such a young age to this team. The offense responds to him. Like you said, they've got a great coaching staff. It's just, he's just another piece of what's, as you mentioned, 19 wins in the last 21 games. A very strong, successful program right now, enjoying a heyday there in Provo.
Yeah, and the interesting thing I think with Bear is the coaches continue to put the ball in his hands to make decisions late in games. He did it against Colorado, did it against Arizona, did it against Utah, did it against Iowa State. They believe in him, and they believe whatever they need to have done, they can put it in his hands. He'll make the right decision. And that's really unusual for a 19-year-old freshman who's playing his first college football season. And he seems to be taking it in stride. Obviously his older brother Hank was a quarterback in college football for Boise State, and later some other teams as well, Louisiana Tech, I think. And anyway, he just doesn't seem to be fazed by anything. And they come down late in the game and they're like, okay, quarterback draw. Let's see if they can stop it. And Barrett, 230 pounds, runs over guys into the end zone and makes the plays. And that's what's most amazing is the coaching staff told us when he won the job, they're like, hey, this offense is open. Whatever we can run, Bear can run it. We're like, okay, he's a freshman. And most people think about true freshmen. Well, we're going to take it easy on him and coddle him a little bit and make him a game manager, so to speak. But they just been putting the ball in his hands, and he continues to make great decisions.
Yeah, and scoring points. 5 of your 8 games, you're scoring 30 points or more right now for BYU. You mentioned the big game coming up after the bye. You're going down to Lubbock to take on Texas Tech. And then the big game a couple weeks after that at Cincinnati, the Bearcats have suddenly, we were talking yesterday, all of a sudden 5-0, and they're right there tied atop the Big 12. Again, I didn't have that on my bingo card to start the season.
Yeah, this part of the season, we kind of earmarked that when we saw it, that it was going to be a very difficult run for BYU towards the end. Starting with the Utah game, then at Iowa State, then a bye, then at Texas Tech. They got Cincinnati and TCU coming up, and UCF's been playing well. So if they get to the Big 12 championship game, they're going to have to earn it, and they wouldn't have it any other way. But this is a very difficult stretch. Obviously, towards this part of the season, you end up with some guys that are banged up or injured. So this bye week is really going to be critical in healing a few guys up, including L.J. Martin, their top running back, who went out in the first quarter against Iowa State. A couple of linebackers that Jack Kelly and Isaiah Glasgow are really, really good NFL caliber, but they're banged up. So this is a really good opportunity for them to get healed before they play Texas Tech. But I'm looking forward to that game. That's going to be very good.
Yeah, bye week at the right time. Exactly right. Talking to Darnell Dixon here. He's a sports writer for the Provo Daily Herald. It's beginning next time that the Cougars take the field. It'll be November. That conversation can now begin about conference championship game berth. How good is this BYU team, and can they get even better?
I think they can get better. Kalani Sitake has said numerous times, the last couple of games at least, that he doesn't feel like they've played a full 60 minutes yet. And that's what any coach will say. They want that full 60 minutes out of their team. And BYU played a great second half against Iowa State, but they were getting pushed around pretty good in the first half. They're in Ames. This league is so crazy. Last year, there were 4 teams tied for first with 2 losses, and BYU lost out in a tiebreaker. So it ended up being Iowa State and Arizona State playing in the league championship. So I think if BYU gets through this next segment of their schedule with just 1 loss, I think that puts them in for sure into the Big 12 championship game and probably into the college football playoffs as well. With 2 losses, then you put yourself at the mercy of whatever convoluted tiebreaker happens to pull up, and you may end up not getting what you want. So they have their goals in front of them. This next stretch is certainly important, but I think they're a pretty good team. They play what they call complementary football, and then you include the offense, defense, and special teams, and they've all made plays. There was a play in that game. I don't know if you saw the play against Iowa State where the special teams coach, Kelly Papinga, told his players that Iowa State's gunners tend not to look at the ball. They tend to engage a guy. And so one of BYU's players, Kevin Doe, ended up pushing his gunner into the football to cause a turnover. A really smart play that really turned the game in that second half. It was a great big move, and BYU ended up scoring out of it. So all 3 segments of this team have stepped up in certain portions together to make things happen. And they caused 4 turnovers on Saturday against Iowa State. Iowa State's a team that doesn't turn the ball over a lot. That's one of the reasons why they win a lot of games, is because they're very disciplined. So I think it's a good team. I think it's a team worthy of getting to the Big 12 championship if they win these next 4 games. And beyond that, I think they're a worthy team to consider for the college football playoffs once we reach that point. And the first rankings are coming up. Last year, BYU was undefeated at this same time. And I believe they were ranked number 9 in those first college football playoff rankings. So they're in a good position, and that's all you want as a coach and players, is to put yourself in a position to control your destiny.
Yeah, as we mentioned, they're currently 10th in the AP, and the coaches are the highest ranked team in the Big 12, 5-0, along with Cincinnati. And as you mentioned, just one loss behind them, Texas Tech and Houston, both at 4-1. And so, we will see again. That's why this coming game in Lubbock next week is going to be so crucial. We haven't talked about Utah, but the Utes right now 3-2, coming up short to BYU in the annual rivalry game there in Utah. The Utes, can they still win out to maybe make some noise it makes some things interesting if other teams slip and fall?
They're a good enough team to do that. I think defensively they're very good. They've had an injury at quarterback where Devin Dampier's not healthy, but Bert Ficklin came in and ran for 150 yards against Colorado on Saturday. So they're capable. The problem, as I mentioned before, with 2 losses, you have to have a lot of things break your way to put yourself in a position to get to Arlington. And for that to happen with all the tiebreakers and the fact you don't play everybody, they could mess up some people's season, that's for sure. I mean, they've got Cincinnati on Saturday, and that's going to be a really good football game. And Utah's certainly capable of putting a loss on the Bearcats. So, yeah, they can be spoilers, and they can put themselves in a position to be considered. But again, when you don't have a conference where you don't play everybody and the tiebreaker comes in, they're kind of at the mercy of that. But they're definitely a good football team. That BYU Utah game was well played and physical. And to be honest, it's surprising both teams won the week after, because that's not been common in this series. When they play early in the season, it's difficult to come out of that game and be able to focus on the next.
Yeah. Well, BYU right now is the only school that's ranked in the top 10 in the AP, both in football and basketball. The Cougars sitting right now at number 8 in the preseason. We begin to tip off here next week, and of course, you made the big addition here in the offseason. One of the top most. There's the Peterson kid at Kansas, and then there's AJ DeBanza that everyone wants. How special is this player?
He's the best basketball player recruit-wise anyway BYU's ever had.
Sure.
And you're talking about, going way back, Danny Ainge was a 3-sport high school star. And if they had the ranking system they have now, he'd have been a 5-star easily. Mm-hmm. They've gone out, and basketball's also benefited, of course, from having some deep pockets of those donors. And they paid the going rate for a number 1 player, for sure, for AJ. I've seen him play, obviously I saw him play with clips from high school and playing with Team USA in the U20s. And we've got a chance to see him in a couple of exhibition games against Nebraska and then North Carolina on Friday. BYU beat North Carolina by 2 on Friday. He had 19 points. He had 30 against Nebraska. He's special. He's definitely a guy that I don't expect to be in Provo very long. I think he'll be one of the top picks in the NBA draft next year. He's that good. And Kevin Young surrounded him with really good players. I think this is a team that's worthy of that number 8 ranking. They're going to play a really difficult preseason schedule. They've got Villanova and UConn, Wisconsin, and Clemson all on there. So they may pick up a few losses along the way, but that's strategic. They want to play a really good preseason schedule. And then you go in the Big 12 and you're playing against teams that are really high up in the net rankings every single week pretty much, and put themselves in a position to get a top 2 or 3 seed if they do things the right way.
Yeah. Quick question before I let you go. We've talked about, and this has happened in so many other programs as well, but what changed there with BYU athletics that now there's a bigger influx of donor money coming in to kind of help facilities always one thing, but also in terms of now you can pay players. What changed there, and what was the decision making there to make that happen?
Yeah, that's an interesting story that could take a while to explain. I'll try to narrow it down. But so I look at Kevin Young being an NBA coach and coming for an interview with then athletic director Tom Homo and now athletic director Brian Santiago. And I'm sure one of the questions he asked was, what's our donor base like? Because to compete against North Carolina and Duke and all of those big schools, you got to spend money. And the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints that sponsors BYU in the past that's not been what they're about. So it has to be a change in perspective from the gentlemen who run things up in Salt Lake City. And there was. They said, sure, we want to. So they went out and hired Kevin Young, paid him probably 2 or 3 times more than they've ever paid a coach. And then because the fact that everything changed in college sports where you could now pay players, those donors who wanted to donate previously but really couldn't specifically because of the rules now can do that. And they've gone all in. The administration's gone all in. The coaches have gone all in. And they, like I said, they paid market value for AJ DeBonson. His father said he didn't tell AJ what teams were offering, but most teams were offering pretty close to the same amount for a guy that's the number one, $3-4 million, probably somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
But AJ DeBonson wanted to play for Kevin Young because Kevin had played in the NBA or coached in the NBA for a long time. He coached some really good basketball players, and his program really is built to resemble an NBA franchise with guys with experience in the league and nutrition and weightlifting and all of these things.
Okay.
And so they've put that all together, and the fact that BYU in the past has always been really good with their funds and not been frivolous with them and put them in the right place, I think it counts for something as well. So that's kind of permeated throughout the entire athletic department, that the women's programs are thriving, and certainly football and men's basketball are really, really good right now. So that's kind of the short answer to what could have been a very long answer.
Okay, that's fair, and that's exactly gives us what we're looking for. But I love it right now in the era of college athletics where there are some other programs, if they choose to invest in the young people and in facilities and things, they can make a difference. And certainly BYU is doing that on so many fronts. Hey, always great to talk with you, my friend. Thanks again for your time. Enjoy the week. And look, we think BYU is going places, so we'll be knocking on your door again to talk more Cougar football.
Sounds good. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much, Darnell. Appreciate it. Darnell Dixon joining us once again. He's a sports writer with the Provo Daily Herald. Be sure to give him a follow on X as well, and we'll have him back here on Sports IQ. You can guarantee that. Hopefully he answers when we call. All right, we've got more Sports IQ coming up. Keep it here.
Fans of big sports radio and sports spectacular podcasts have a new home on the Chief Sports Network. Find your favorite programs and content all in one place by downloading the Chief Sports app in your mobile device. Created in South Carolina, the Chief Sports Network is the home of an expanding network of live and podcast format programming. It is also the home of one of the leading national college football podcasts, JC and Morgan, hosted by ESPN's Mike Morgan and 24/7 Sports' JC Sherbert. Download the Chief Sports app for free and find all of your favorite programming under one easy umbrella. Thanks to all of our markets for your loyal support of Big Sports Radio and our Sports Spectacular podcast, and we look forward to connecting with you anywhere in the world on the Chief Sports app.
How is your car payment treating you? What if I told you you could make a free phone call right now and reduce your car payment by as much as $83 a month? Look at your car payment closely. You could be paying as high as 20% interest. Rate Genius can help you reduce your car payments by reducing your interest rate to as low as 2.48% APR. We can refinance most existing car loans or leased cars, new or used, and save you money every month. Put more money back in your pocket. The call is free to find out how low we can lower your car payment. 5 minutes of your time right now could save you hundreds of dollars a year. Call Rate Genius now.
800-425-1161. 800-425-1161. 800-425-1161. That's 800-425-1161.
Not all applicants qualify for a loan or rate savings. Actual offer terms, including APR, are determined at the time of your application based on creditworthiness, value of the vehicle, loan term, and other factors.
NHL tonight. Kind of a crazy night. You know, this is the sports equinox when all four professional leagues are in action all at once. How about every NHL team is in action tonight? All 32 teams playing 16 games. Some of the highlights for you: Vegas is at Carolina. The Penguins visiting Philadelphia. Can't wait to see the Devils and Avalanche in Denver. That's at 9 o'clock. The puck drops there Eastern time on that one. Also, the Mammoth of Utah are at Edmonton. Some great matchups in the NHL. We talked about earlier college basketball. Again, next Monday is the official opening night. of the regular season, November 3rd. A few days ago, Tom Izzo went on a bit of a mini rant, and you can't blame him. The veteran Michigan State coach has been there 30 years. Right now, he's the dean of coaches, won a title back in 2000, multiple Big Ten championships, Final Fours. And he talked about in terms of a recent development where a player who had turned pro, had gone to the NBA G League, now has decided to return to college and has signed with an ACC school. And Izzo talking about in terms of just the reversal where it used to be you were an amateur until you're professional and then no more. And he gave a very impassioned little speech as he talked to reporters there in East Lansing. Let's listen into that.
I'm going to get myself in trouble, but I listen to people talk of how kids changed. Kids aren't the problem. We're the problem. This was sprung on us again yesterday, where a guy can be in the G League for 2 or 3 years, and then all of a sudden he's eligible. Most of my people knew nothing about it. I don't think our commissioner. I mean, I am not real excited about the NCAA or whoever's making these decisions without talking to us, just letting it go because they're afraid they're going to get sued. So you're right. I said that this really bothers your coach if you're Michigan State fans. But if you want a silver lining in a cloud, I am going to call Magic tonight. I'm going to call Jaren Jackson, Miles, Gary, Max. You know, this just goes to show you how ridiculous people that are in power make decisions. I mean, you know, and I'm going to get killed because someone's going to say, well, if they go pro, it doesn't work out, shouldn't they be able to come back? Well, what about the freshman you recruited there? That's somebody's son. And he thinks he's got himself a good place, and all of a sudden, shazam, they pull out of their hat and bring a 21 or 22-year-old in. To me, it's ridiculous. To me, it's embarrassing. And I love my job. I don't respect my profession, and I don't respect who's ever doing that. Whoever made those decisions, because they're afraid that a lawyer's going to sue them, sooner or later you got to fight the fight. And you know, if we would have been aware of it, if somebody would have talked to us, maybe it's me, maybe I'm the dummy, but I'll never agree to that stuff. I think we're really hurting the freshmen in high school. I mean, the seniors in high school, giving them a chance, and we're just gonna, what's the age limit now? Is it 30? You know, if you have 3 beards and 2 mustaches, are you illegal? You're not allowed to play? I mean, what is it gonna be? And so, yeah, you hit a sore spot for me because the transfer portal is enough. You know, we have no rules. And now we just taken no rules and add some more no rules. And if everybody likes that, that's good. And I feel bad if a kid came out early. Maybe we shouldn't come out early. Maybe we should do a better job of helping kids make decisions, said decisions they make, and then, oh boy, I made a bad decision, so I'll go back. But the unintended consequences are the kids that are there will now get screwed and not have an opportunity. And then they'll be transferring, and then we'll have this circle. So I do not know everything about it. I cannot believe that this was sprung on us yesterday. And if it was done earlier and I didn't know about it, shame on me. But my compliance officer didn't know. There are people in this league didn't know. The NCAA's got to regroup. They got to regroup. That's my opinion. Only my opinion. So don't be mad at anybody else. Be mad at us. But I'm not going to be mad at the players. I'm going to be mad at the adults in the room. And so don't blame the players anymore. Blame the adults that make the decisions that allow some of these ridiculous things to happen. And then the unintended consequences hurt kids that are trying to do it the right way with a process, not jumping around. And that's my 2 cents. So put that wherever you want it.
Again, Michigan State coach Tom Izzo talking about, we've seen this, so many players coming in from overseas. We've seen there's been a larger influx of that, players coming. playing in pro leagues over there. We've seen it at so many programs. Gonzaga's had quite a few. Arizona. We've now seen BYU, Illinois, Duke has a player. There's so many more schools that have this. But again, one of those where the rules of amateurism certainly been blurred. There's no question in college basketball as it stands right now. Okay, we have an unbelievable moment of awe, something you probably didn't know. That's next.
Everything is expensive right now. Gas, food, you name it. You're spending more, you are making the same or less money. So, what do? You rack up credit card debt. That's what you do. It's not your fault. It's the economy. And guess what? If you rack up too much credit card debt like some of us, you can't pay your bills. Then the credit card companies, as nice as they are, start hounding you for money. Then you start your downward spiral. A smart thing for you to do is to call the Zero Debt. They can help you consolidate all your credit card bills into one affordable payment. Millions of people have done it. It works to make you debt-free. Make this free call right now. It costs you nothing to learn more.
800-507-7293. 800-507-7293. 800-507-7293. That's 800-507-7293.
Time now for a moment of awe. And it was on this day in 1954 that Major League Baseball rejected the sale of the Athletics franchise to a Philadelphia group. Instead, sold to a man named Arnold Johnson, who moved the team to Kansas City, and they became the first Major League Baseball team to set up shop west of St. Louis. That was always, for decades, the farthest west the teams would go. And westward expansion began a couple years later in 1958. The Dodgers moving to Los Angeles, the Giants also leaving New York and moving out to San Francisco. And as it is today, as we go through, that was the beginning of what we have right now. No fewer than 12 teams playing west of St. Louis in today's Major League Baseball. And there you go, your moment of awe. Hey, thanks so much for our friend Darnell Dixon stopping by. Thanks to you as well. Make it a great Tuesday. Say hi to a stranger. Make their day. We'll see you tomorrow here on the Sports IQ.
Thanks for listening to Sports IQ with Larry Smith, Monday through Friday. Continue the conversation at Sports IQ LS. We'll see you next time.